The rain had been falling since morning, drumming softly against the tall glass windows of his office. On his screen, the blank design canvas waited for him, but his mind was already too full to let anything new in. Every time he tried to focus, another thought pushed its way forward. Unfinished work from last week, a disagreement with a client, the email he hadn't answered, the memory of a mistake he had made months ago that still managed to sting. By noon, his chest felt tight, the kind of heaviness that made breathing feel like work. He grabbed his jacket and stepped outside, letting the cold drizzle soak into his shoulders. Without any real plan, his feet led him to a quiet side street he rarely visited. That's when he noticed the small tea shop, its wooden sign hanging slightly crooked, its windows fogged from the warmth inside. He stepped in and was greeted by the faint scent of jasmine and the sight of an old man sitting behind the counter, his hands slowly arranging tea leaves with the precision of someone who had done this for a lifetime. The place was nearly silent, except for the soft clink of porcelain cups and the low hum of a kettle. The old man glanced up, smiled faintly, and motioned for him to sit at the counter. No words of salesmanship, no menu, just the gentle rhythm of water being poured into a pot. A small cup of steaming tea slid toward him, the fragrance delicate and calming. "You look like you've been carrying something heavy," the old man said after a moment, his voice quiet but certain. He wanted to respond, but the words felt tangled. Instead, he just let out a tired laugh. "I guess you could say that." The old man nodded as if he already understood. He didn't press for more. Instead, he reached for an empty cup and began to pour tea from a pot already filled to the brim. The liquid overflowed, spilling onto the tray. "When a cup is full," the old man said softly, "it can't take anything new. The mind is the same." The man watched the tea drip from the edges of the cup, the image etching itself into his thoughts. Something about it struck a chord, though he couldn't explain why. For the first time in weeks, he didn't feel the urge to fill the silence. He simply sat there, hands wrapped around the warm cup, the steam rising like a soft breath in the still air. He returned to the tea shop the next day, and the day after that. It wasn't planned. It just became the place his feet carried him when the office felt too loud and his thoughts too crowded. Each visit was the same. The old man would prepare tea in silence, letting the stillness settle between them like a shared language neither of them needed to translate. On the fourth visit, the old man placed 2 cups in front of him. One was already filled to the top, just like before. The other was empty, clean, waiting. He pointed to the full one. "This is your mind now," he said. Then to the empty cup, "This is your mind when you make space." The man stared at them, and something inside began to loosen. He thought about the endless projects he had carried home in his head, the arguments he replayed long after they ended, the weight of every expectation he had piled onto himself. His mind had been brimming for years, every moment occupied, no room for anything gentle or new. "Letting go isn't forgetting," the old man said, pouring tea into the empty cup. "It's giving yourself room to receive what you need." That night, the man sat at his desk at home. The same blank design canvas glowed on his laptop, but this time he didn't force himself to fill it. Instead, he closed his eyes, breathing slowly until the restless swarm of thoughts began to quiet. He pictured an empty cup in his hands, waiting patiently. The next morning at work, something shifted. He stopped chasing perfection. He allowed mistakes to be part of the process, and strangely, ideas began to come, small at first, then flowingly like water into the spaces he had cleared. By the end of the week, he had finished a project that felt alive, honest, and unlike anything he'd made in years. On his final visit to the tea shop that month, he brought the old man a print of his new design. The old man studied it for a long moment, then smiled. "Your cup isn't overflowing anymore," he said. As he stepped back out into the cool air, the man felt lighter. The streets seemed wider, the sound of the rain softer. His mind was no longer a crowded room. It was a quiet, open space where possibility could enter without pushing anything else out. And for the first time in a long while, he didn't just feel like he was living. He felt free. There will always be things our minds try to hold on to. Worries, mistakes, unanswered questions. But a mind that clings to everything soon finds it has room for nothing. Life isn't about keeping every drop. It's about making space for what truly matters. When we empty the noise, we discover that peace was never missing. It was simply covered. And in that space, new beginnings quietly wait. If this story touched you, share it with someone who might need a lighter heart today. Like, comment, and subscribe to join us for more stories that open the mind and free the soul.